Hey, we're Josh and Chandler. I'm Josh.
And I'm Chandler.
And today we're going to be giving a little 2 cents on Star Wars Rise of Skywalker.
We'd give you our 3 cents, but we all know how that went.
As a movie,
Yeah.
not great. As a Star Wars movie, it's okay. Especially given that really what J.J. Abrams had to do with this film was not just resolve this dumpster fire of a trilogy and also retcon the worst Star Wars movie ever created by mankind, which was The Last Jedi, and resolve kind of the entire Skywalker saga as we know it thus far. This does a decent job of that. Obviously not amazing, but almost by design it was never going to be able to be amazing because it had to do so many things with so little time. Josh, how did you like this movie?
Bad.
Really?
I mean, it wasn't terrible. Like, between the director change and the heaping pile that was the previous movie, J.J. Abrams wasn't really handled a whole lot. It's hard to jump on board the tail end of a series like this, especially when it's in a bad scenario. It's hard to make it good. It's hard to even make it remotely passable.
Yeah.
But he made something passable.
He made something watchable.
There were moments that I was genuinely entertained.
Parts of it. Yeah.
There were moments that I was genuinely like, okay, that was a funny, like I felt like I was watching an actual Star Wars movie. My whole opinion about the Star Wars trilogy now, anything could have happened within the universe and it would have been generally accepted by most audiences. It's just people that have held on to the seething rage of like what happened with the prequels, hatred.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who definitely just want to hate anything new that comes out from Star Wars. This sequel trilogy, it makes the prequels look good.
Yeah, when the prequels originally came out, ticket sales went through the roof.
It's called Doing the Jar Jar, and it swept the nation.
George Lucas sold his company
to Kathleen Kennedy, who is arguably the reason why these movies have been so trash and awful. You look at Kevin Feige, who helmed the Marvel franchise into the spectacular cinematic experience that was.
It's hard to do what he did.
Yes. You take someone like that with that vision at Disney, and then the immediate juxtaposition would be Kathleen Kennedy, who at no point really seemed to put any thought into anything, and began making a trilogy without even knowing what the story of the all 3 movies was going to be, and just taking it movie by movie, which is a terrible idea. I'm the writing team. The Last Jedi was so terrible, obviously awful, and suffered from a major lack of foresight, a major
foresight. Am I right? Haven't even touched on the behind the scenes of like switching directors mid-trilogy.
And for this movie, how it had a different director, and they fired the director for creative differences.
The J.J. Abrams, like, we're just gonna kind of subtly redirect things because that's what he's good at. You have to admit, it's not by any means fixing the story. It's kind of like taking a tributary that had gone astray and kind of redirecting it to the rest of the river, even though the rest of the river is still going to hell.
Spoilers from this point on. I'll admit, when I went into watching Rise of Skywalker, I very much was ready to hate this movie because I talked so badly about it leading up to it. Like, my expectations were 0.
In the pit.
I didn't end up hating it because it did enough things that were interesting and intriguing with the lore and the characters. I just love Adam Driver on screen so much that it made it worth watching, seeing how everything's resolved. It was a very bombastic, turned up to 11, in the 3rd act. And
it really did turn up to 11, didn't it? Yeah. When the movie kind of became self-aware for a second, the movie turned into that John Travolta meme where it's just like that was funny. I
did like all the digs at The Last Jedi though. I enjoyed a lot of the deep lore stuff that they kind of brought into this movie that I wasn't really expecting, and I was wanting since Force Awakens. There's a lot of Force powers in this movie that I think a lot of people are going to be like, that's stupid, but actually did exist already in like the expanded universe. And the whole going to like an ancient Sith world and,
I was just going to say the hidden Sith
temple
world
is really cool. Getting to see behind into that side of things, which we've never seen in the movies.
We've never seen a hidden Sith temple like that before, even hidden Sith world. What there is really deep old lore regarding the Sith, and like they're lying, for lack of a better.
I would have preferred Korriban personally, but I guess One of the only callbacks that I actually enjoyed, that scene where all the Jedi, they're calling out to Rey, the voices of Anakin and Mace Windu and Qui-Gon Jinn, and they all came back to actually record new voice lines for that scene, and like Obi-Wan and stuff. Yeah, was very cool. On that token, I liked it.
You will strike me down, and your hatred will come. How you have your lightsaber behind your back. No, where did it go? Oh no!
Whoa, I'm a magician.
And then I'm Ben Solo's enemies, and I'm like, he doesn't have a weapon. Ah!
I'm mad because they killed the best character, Kylo Ren.
Yeah, they did.
I want to see more, but he's dead.
They killed good old Benny.
I don't hate this movie.
Right.
I think that as a movie, not very great. Yeah, like the dialogue's clunky, the climax isn't like fantastic. The movie makes a lot of mistakes in terms of removing tension by accident, just due to how they tend to resolve a lot of issues throughout this movie.
Just to kind of let it just kind of dribble out.
Yeah. Every time something major happens, there's no repercussions for it because it's immediately reversed in the same scene or the next scene.
So as an audience member, you're sitting in your chair going, oh no!
Yeah.
Chewie just died. Oh wait, no he didn't. Ben Solo got stabbed by a lightsaber bit. We both know nothing's gonna happen.
So when you remove all that tension, that's just, as a movie, not great. The comedy bits mainly consisted of just really lower hanging fruit, in my opinion. It was literally some little gremlin just saying nonsense at the camera, and the audience being like, I'm not gonna go quote, like, what is that? You know what I mean? Like,
you're not gonna be like, oh, remember that one small alien thing where he was literally lobotomizing C-3PO? And he'd be like, and the audience was like, ah!
That was pretty much the extent of the comedy, and C-3PO had some funny lines.
But that's the extent and the highest.
It was pretty campy, though.
It was sitcom humor.
To like a weirder extent than I think normal. Because like the prequels are kind of campy. Like Ian McDiarmid in the prequels is very campy, and that's why the Emperor is like one of the best characters. And unfortunately, in this movie, Ian McDiarmid is a fantastic, amazing actor, but had no material to work with. Was given really nothing new. He literally just repeated himself over and over again, the same stuff we've heard since Revenge of the Sith.
He'd just be like, your hate will flow through you. You will strike me down. Like, do it. And then he said, do it once too. Every single time.
It was just like the greatest hits album.
It was.
You know, which is unfortunate, because I think that's a waste. Like, they're going to bring back the character, and then he does nothing, and then is thwarted in a pretty anticlimactic
Yeah, I was just going to say it was an anticlimactic death, and honestly, even that anticlimactic...
Fell for the lightning redirect twice.
I was going to say it's the same thing from the prequels. It's the same thing.
There is a lot of like, remember this, which is not important.
They kind of shoved down your throat.
At many points. Almost, it's even worse than Force Awakens. It actually might be the worst in this trilogy.
In that regard,
Don't do this.
At the end of it, they just start shouting. At the end of it, it's like, we're with you. All the Jedi are inside you.
The scene itself, for what it was doing in terms of the plot, was annoying because it was once again making an already very powerful, overpowered character even more powerful in a way that I don't think has been established, that the light side of the Force works this way. And it feels like there's a lot of decisions that were made in this movie where it was just like, sure. There's stuff that doesn't make any sense. A lot of plot points that they are just one plot hole.
They're never mentioned.
They're never like with the Hux spy thing. Where it's like there's a spy. And then it's like, who is the spy? Oh, it's Hux. And then Hux is like, because I can. And you're like, that isn't how this should work.
That's a real thing.
That's not how you should write plot beats.
And the best thing ever about that is that literally, like the speed, like the beat of that is, I'm the spy. Turns around and gets shot. Like that's like within 5 minutes. Scene he's dead.
What was the point of this?
It's so amazing.
What is the point? That's the other thing about this movie, though, is they introduce some new characters like that chick, Jenna or whatever. And it's like, why are you doing this? Because there's no time. We have no time for this. It's the last movie. It's the third act.
I was gonna say it was like the last 25 minutes of this movie. They're like, by the way, I hate it.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. All the characters except Adam Driver not being interesting, and that goes for, which I don't think we mentioned Finn, because he just does absolutely nothing.
He does zero things in this movie. I love John Boyega.
Yeah, no,
I think
he's
that
not bad. He did,
he's not bad
and
at all.
it was
Yeah.
his material.
It's not like a Daisy Ridley situation where it's like, I think she was handed this role and it could have been a really good part.
Yeah.
And then just like
Yeah.
flatline.
Kylo being the easily more interesting character, and then he just croaks for no reason, and no one says a word.
Yeah. There's
No one mentions.
Yeah, there's
him
not even a
after
mention
that.
of him. Yeah, it's so funny.
Nobody.
There's this BS like 15-minute celebration afterwards, which just does not sit well.
A bunch of characters that, let's be honest, we don't care about and/or just met.
What about Slugman? What about
Like-
Mr. Krabs,
like
Gary Slugman?
Slugman, who everyone knows and loves.
My
and
favorite part.
Chewie hugging Rose, who
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they never met on screen up until this point.
No, it was the first time.
So it's like, why would you be doing that? Like, I don't know. It's just Disney. They don't force an audience to care about these new characters. They assume you already do.
Yep.
And they make these scenes as if the audience. They like leave room
Yeah.
like it's a Saturday Night
Yeah.
Live sketch for everyone to like clap and laugh. But it never happens.
And no one's clapping.
No one's clapping. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about these characters. All the characters we cared about are dead now, except for Chewie and Lando. By that point in the movie, obviously, I cared about Kylo being in the rest of
Yeah,
it.
are you kidding me? Of course.
Him being dead is like,
Yeah.
oh, that's another character.
Yeah.
That's one less reason
Yep.
to be at all concerned about anything that goes on.
I have to go.
Yeah, I know, man. Hey, man. You hate to see it. Yeah, so anyway, go watch Rise of Skywalker if you want to see what it's like to waste all your potential. JJ did an okay job. It's an okay movie.
JJ's alright.
It's
Yeah.
not very high on my list of Star Wars movies. This trilogy, not great. Hasn't been great at any point.
Had its moments.
Didn't improve with this movie that much.
No.
Let us know what you thought of Star Wars Rise of Skywalker in the comments down below, or send hate mail to our P.O. box.
Feel free to send me anything. I'll see you there.
Lab 212 on everything as well. Hope you enjoyed the movie more than we did. Well, The Mandalorian's alright.
The what?
Mandalorian. What if
Yoda?
though? What if though?
Baby Yoda?
Baby Yoda?
Baby Yoda?
Baby Yoda?